Okay, we are going to open the Finance Committee meeting for Tuesday, June 12th. It is now 7:02 p.m., we will say. Thank you, everyone, for coming on a beautiful night. It's hard to walk in the door here. I will remind everyone, we are being videotaped for future broadcast on both cable and the town websites. If it's okay with everyone, I'm going to take the agenda a little bit out of order today, and we're going to move right to the reserve fund transfer since we have a couple of guests. Why don't we bring Adam up first? Or you both want to come up? Either way is fine by me.
Hello.
Hello, how are you tonight?
You? Good.
But I get to ask him a question.
Oh, a lot of people do that. My father just did that before I came here. He's like, I have a question for you, and then
Perfect, you're
he
the
said, I'll
perfect
call you
person,
later.
I need you here.
Okay.
All right, it seems you're looking for $2,500 for the post office air conditioner?
Yeah, we had two major breakdowns in the last week. I thought I was going to be good for money. Unfortunately, the police department air conditioner broke down. The compressor's $5,000. We replaced it. I thought I was still going to be good. Post office called, their compressor let go, and theirs $7,000. They have a big unit. They have a 10-ton unit. It's probably, I would guesstimate, they're getting me a quote to replace it, but the whole unit. But I just while they were there, I figured I'd hit them with that. It's probably going to be around like $20,000 to replace the whole thing. So $7,000 isn't so bad, unfortunately, but. Yeah, so I had that surprise, so that's kind of where I'm at. So I know I have money left in my budget, but I have bills that are still coming in. I know I'm going to be real close, so this is going to cover me, and hopefully I don't need it, and you guys get it back.
So what is the request, Mr. Chairman?
It says the amount request $2,500, then it says to be transferred $2,400. Do we know which one is correct?
No,
Or
that's
that-
the account number.
Oh, that's the account
Yeah.
number.
Yes.
Is that 5240?
Yeah, my handwriting's pretty bad.
No,
It
that's all right,
happens, so.
that's all right. I thought
But,
that was a
yeah.
dollar sign. So $2,500.
Do you think that's sufficient?
I do. I think I'm really close. Like I said, as long as, what do we have, 2 weeks left? I just need 2 weeks, so I know. Knock it on wood.
2,500.
$2,500, yes.
And just a little background too, the air conditioner at the police department is from 1992, it was made in 91, installed in 92.
When we did the original,
Exactly, it's still the same one. The post office was made in 95, installed in 96. So they're still original. I've had very good comments from our air conditioner companies, how long we've made them last by maintaining them the way we have, which is great. They usually only last 20 years. I mean, the ones out back here, which finally have funding, are from 88 and 89. So, I mean, they're, those ones hopefully will be replaced. They do cost quite a bit, so it's hard to get the funding up. So repairs, every year we have to repair them, and the same with these two, we usually have repairs.
before we jump into doing that, can I ask my question?
Sure.
I noted, back in blooming season for apple trees or red bud trees or whatever the tree is out front,
Yeah,
that there was a problem with the tree.
yeah, it is.
Just driving down today, I saw, there's a dead area.
Yeah,
Would we approach an arborist to look at that?
I did already. So they told me that tree.
See, I knew you were going to be the answer man.
That tree actually is on its way out. It's actually got a cable holding it together that they put in to try to save it for a few more years. From what I've found out now, you guys will probably know more than me, it was donated by a class from the school back, so it's got some meaning to it for a classmate, I believe, that passed on, or something like that. Paul Demore's father, I don't know his name, and he was the class president, and it was part of that. I don't have the exact details, so it's not something I'm willing to just take right down. I really won't, I'm trying to let it happen.
Well, I know that
does, but
it's been a sense of pride, I think,
It
for
is.
the
It's a
municipal
beautiful tree.
center.
It is.
It's a gorgeous tree.
Absolutely.
And my concern is obviously either fixing it,
Yeah.
replacing it.
They trimmed it last year for me because it was starting to split, and they put the cable through it to hope that they could get a few more years out of it. But he told me 5 years, he said it'll be done. And that was last year, so.
Okay.
And that was Joe Bigioni, Arbor Alliance. That's what I had him come in and do. Just trim it, look at it, try to take some weight off of it. Because they said that's one thing, those trees are
Pulling.
soft, and they get so thick and heavy that it does split apart.
Thank you for that answer.
Anytime.
Does anyone else have,
Such a good answer, I'm gonna,
you want to ask another question? No?
You got one, that's fine.
no.
That's what I'm here for.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Okay, I'd be looking for a motion to approve $2,500 to be transferred to account 52400 repairs and maintenance.
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second it.
Motion made by Carol, seconded by Cynthia. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Thank you very much, Adam.
Thank you, Adam.
Thank you.
Next up, Chief Vincent.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. So, it looks like we have a request for $1,000 to the fire expense repairs and maintenance account for the boiler, compressor, and bay door number 6.
Correct. I was trying to figure what the third one was, but, those are all, anytime you repair them, they're $300, $400, $500.
What are they again? Boiler?
The boiler, we had some repairs done on the boiler. The boiler's been an issue since it was put in. Usually every heating season, we get a couple of repairs on that. The bay doors, we have 8 of the big, huge bay doors.
Yeah.
Fire trucks in and out, the wear, they have their cables, the cables wear out. What we want to do is try to get a maintenance contract, that was never in the budget before. So pretty much, we grease them as best we can, but when one fails, they fail, and they're a lot of weight, and they fail at the most inconvenient times. Usually in the middle of a snowstorm. Last year we had 2 fail at once, so we were jockeying trucks around to get trucks out. But
And the compressor, is that for an AC
the
unit?
compressor is for, it fills our SCBA bottles.
Oh, okay.
So it's compressed air. It's air that has to be tested. There's a maintenance agreement, pretty much a maintenance agreement with all these things. But sometimes when something's old, it's not in the maintenance agreement. It's just parts that wear out. That's about 18 years old, I think.
Okay.
What's an SBA bottle?
Self-contained breathing apparatus. Those are the bottles we wear on our backs when we go into a fire.
A fire?
Yeah. So that's a pretty important piece of equipment.
Yeah, I would think so.
So the building itself is, how old?
Next year, it'll be 20 years old.
So 20. And you said the boilers had problems since it was put in?
Yeah.
That makes me so happy.
I get it. Because my first year there, I almost flipped when I became chief. Because it cost me $19,000 just that year to heat. That's when oil was like $3, $4 a gallon. And it was a little bit of a culture shock to go from lieutenant to chief. Now I'm the guy turning the heat down all the time. But yeah, we've had issues with that, and I've talked to a number of vendors to try to figure out what the best thing is to do it. But Teddy Sozier always says we should have done stuff in the floors. I forget where you heat the water up in the floors, the radiant heat in the floors and the bays. But it's forced hot air, and it's blowing all, it goes to different places. Not forced hot air. It's radiators and stuff in the like the meeting room, out in the bays where the fire trucks and ambulances are. It's forced hot air.
Okay, so the boiler itself is running, not the forced hot air, but it's running the,
It keeps the hot water hot as well, and that's another thing I was talking about with Mr. Wojcik. It's running all the time, even during the summer, just to keep hot water. And I want to try to maybe do the hot water heater, maybe
Split system.
propane or something, so that it's not running in the middle of the day, in the middle of the winter. I walk in at 70 degrees and things go on. It drives me.
Any other questions for the chief? Okay, I'd be looking for a motion to approve $1,000 to be transferred to account 52400, the fire expense repairs and maintenance account.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Lee,
I'll second it.
seconded by Carol. Any other comments or questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you
Chief.
very much,
Have a
Chief.
good evening.
Have a good night.
thank you. By the way, how much money is in our reserve fund? I don't think we
Before
made
the
it.
meeting started, it was $21,236.
21,236?
And just to
Going
make a
once,
comment,
going twice, gone.
I did tell, I do have a meeting with the departments, when it gets time, at this time of year, we are being very conservative with these numbers because we can't come back. So we're not going to encourage them to spend what you provide them, but it's either gonna close from their department or it's gonna close from the
initial
reserve
both
fund.
those, all 3 copies.
Timing is very crucial this time of year.
Okay. Moving on, why don't we continue with the reserve fund transfers while we're here. Number 3, $6,000 requested to be transferred to streetlights. June invoices still need to be paid for 3 streetlights in May and June for Con Edison and National Grid for the 4th.
3,000, is that what you said?
6,000. I estimate I will be short close to $6,000.
Again, we do not have the Con Edison bill for the month of June, and we do, the biggest bill comes in on June 24th. So we don't have the
A
national
week
grid bill.
before the end of our fiscal
Yeah,
year. Nice.
yeah. The other ones are pretty small, but
Yeah.
the biggest bill comes in.
Do we know why we were over this year as opposed to past years?
Tight budgeting.
Oh, the tight budget with the rates, I don't know if you noticed at your home crunch.
Yeah.
They're-
The rates went up.
Yeah.
Now, are we with the same, the town here, are we with, I know there's some with, I forget who the heck I'm with now. When the whole town went with somebody.
Yeah, I think that actually we're in the contract with Hudson.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's somebody else then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, any other further questions?
You know, what's interesting is, I kind of figured that the whole town went over on it, everybody was on it. Well, what I find is that, like, when one of my apartments turns over, they go right back to National Grid.
Oh, really?
They don't automatically go over to that, one that has the lower rate. So people should watch that closely.
How is that possible?
That's who you get the bill from, National Grid.
Shouldn't
It's-
be.
It's at 12 cents
Huh, yeah,
instead of
as
10.
opposed to 11 or 10.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So if we have no further questions, I'd be looking for a motion to transfer $6,000 from the reserve fund to be transferred to account number 52101 streetlights,
I'll make that motion.
made by Cynthia,
Second.
seconded by Lee. Any further questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Last but not least, we are looking for $2,000 to be transferred to Town Hall office supplies. The June postage machine lease is $833.28. The copier lease is $290.02, and I have a FedEx invoice of $59.10, which will leave a balance of less than of a negative $33.97 in the account. The postage machine currently has $109, which will last 2 days. There were more bulk mailings and certified mails than usual this fiscal year. Anything to add, Gene, or does that cover it?
Covers it.
Okay.
And just to remind everybody, the postage machine is used by all departments, so it's not just, town hall. Demands and everything goes out through here.
And just something came up yesterday. Postage rates have gone up, I guess, to 50 cents now.
We have,
for
yeah, I know,
stamps.
I'm paying 50 cents.
Yeah, yeah, and I not publicized well, I don't think.
No.
I didn't ever heard it either.
Yeah, yesterday I heard it, I went, really? When did that happen? So we, how did we, how much, are we gonna be off on all of our postage now because of that?
Well, we get a discounted rate. I'm not sure how much of a discount
Okay.
we are, but it really depends. This is activity driven.
Yeah.
When we do certified mailings and things of that
Right.
nature.
Right, but if our costs now are going up for the entire year,
Yes.
and our budget was based on last year's rates, then I'm just wondering if there's gonna be
And
a,
the other component to the town hall expense is town hall supplies, which is paper.
yeah. Mhm.
So we are
Okay.
working on getting that cost down by adding ourselves to the tech bid at the school. So instead of paying close to $26 for a card, we're going to be trying to pay close to $22. So we're looking at cost-saving measures
Good.
someplace else to kind of offset it.
Okay. Any further questions or comments? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to transfer $2,000 from the reserve fund to account
So
number
moved.
54200, the town hall office supplies account. Motion made
Moved
by
again.
Pam, seconded by Carol. Any other questions or comments? All in favor? Aye, unanimous. Okay, Pam, I think you have two of the first two to your right there to initial.
We should have 12 initials altogether.
Okay.
I've only did two. I got to fill out the last two, so we'll do them two. They get your last on the list there for those, and then I'll go ahead and fill these out as the meeting progresses.
Okay, so we need, yeah.
And then you can pass those back. You can pass me the pen, pass Jean the forms to make sure I have filled them out correctly.
Can I finish on these before I pass you the pen? Although I can pass you the pen.
No,
I got
no,
a pen of my own.
Forms to Jean, though.
I'm good.
Have a pen, we'll travel.
Okay, so now we will go back to item 1, selection of chairman and vice chairman. Now, with a smaller than usual committee, I might pass on this, but since I may not be here the next time, we probably should elect someone if at all possible.
So that's all done. Now those aren't.
These aren't done, these aren't filled out yet.
So what does the committee wish to do? Is that your question?
I'm sorry, that was a weak pass.
Thank you. Thanks, Jean.
Well, if the committee doesn't elect a chairman, I'm not sure who would organize the first meeting for the fall. So I think if someone is
Usually usually it would be the administrator or whatever, usually one of the administration.
okay. I did email Howard, and he said he would be interested in vice chairman again. He did not think he could commit to being chairman. Is there anyone here interested in being chairman for the upcoming fiscal year?
Straight out right now.
Cynthia and I are out, so that leaves 3.
I told Ryan, I'm real worried about finance committee.
Yeah.
Because we had a funny year this year.
Right, yeah,
We have a new administrator,
right.
and I don't know why, but I will consider it, as long as I get a helper.
I'm happy to help if I'm around, but I may not.
Are you quitting the finance committee? I thought you were going to leaving as chair.
I have told the moderator that my term is up and I
Okay.
do not plan to continue. If we do not have a full committee, I realize being the chair how much trouble we had with quorum. So my comment to him was, if we do not have a full committee and he's an extra slot, I'm happy to fulfill for another year and come when my wife is in town. So basically, for those who don't know, my wife travels quite a bit during our busy season, and my 7-year-old daughter was complaining about staying with the babysitter this.
Can't have that.
No, and she's starting to get homework that has to be reviewed and checked, so I need to make that more of a priority.
Yep.
So I'm happy to help in the transition, and if I'm on the committee, I'm happy to help any way I can.
Well, I mean, I recalled Ryan speaking about how he'd like to see things change.
Right.
And I was on board with that and would like to do that same thing.
Well, I'd be very happy to nominate Pam as chairman.
I'll accept the nomination. Again, I'd like to have help from various people and get yourselves up to speed. Avail yourselves of there's a couple of meetings that are real important and will just make you much more comfortable with terminology and how local and state government interact, and everything gets approved by the state, and we're not an entity all by ourselves. So, but yeah, I'll accept it, and so we need I'll
Okay,
let you
I
move
will-
forward.
Somebody have to second that?
I will second it.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Pam. Any other nominations? Don't all step up at once. All in favor of Pam as chairman for the next fiscal, chairwoman, I guess, for the next fiscal year? Aye. It's unanimous. Congratulations.
What's so short? It's a congratulations. It's more of a thank you.
I'm very concerned about the finance committee and going forward, that we have a strong finance committee body for the town. I think it's a valuable group. I think the town appreciates the work that we do. And I think that the town needs a finance committee, period. You know, Cindy, your parting remarks would be very important, I think, to the committee.
Well, I enjoyed
have
it a
any.
lot. I really did enjoy being on it. I'm
Yeah.
going to miss it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss it. If I was still going to be around, I'd be on it. So I encourage anybody to come and apply for it.
I think there's been a number of a lot of new interests, shall we say, because of, with the override and discussions about finances and whatever.
The moderator did tell me, he and I last spoke a couple days before town meeting. He said he did have 2 or 3 people interested.
Great.
He did not want to appoint anyone until after the town meeting,
Yeah.
the budget season, and we did have 1 new member appointed, and she could not make it tonight. She was away on business, so I'm not sure if others are in the wind. I have not spoken to him since town meeting, so.
I guess
Just one initial
one
on
thing, I'm sure that he is aware of our quorum issues that we've had in the recent past, Ryan. We had a lot last year.
I did speak to him about that. I
Yeah.
did. Yep.
So, I'm confident that he will have spoken to new members and said, if you're making a commitment, it's not in word only, you have to show up. Right?
I would
Hope so.
assume so, hope so. I don't know what those discussions
Yeah,
are.
I don't either, so.
Do you want to talk about your proposed calendar for the next year?
Yeah, I just sat down this morning. Again, I was concerned about the committee, and so I came up with a template of sorts, just starting by, I didn't know where I was going to start. I just did it this morning. I thought, well, I'll start with the months and what's going on.
I'm sorry,
I
don't think I got
Sure, I wrote down a bunch of them, and I came down here to the town hall and ran it by Matt and Jean. And we came up with some things. These wouldn't be a meeting. Each one is not necessarily a meeting. I can envision 3 or 4 things being taken care of in one meeting, maybe in October or, September ended up being blank after my discussion with Matt and Jean. And then I remembered, Ryan, we talked last year about possibility of looking at the Worcester Retirement Group, and because we had some concerns about their
Yeah, and
increases.
they did come in last fall.
Okay, so that must have been the one meeting that I was ill.
They came in in October.
Okay.
And he made a presentation, and we asked a few questions and that sort of
Okay.
thing. So, but there are definitely other things like that. I think the committee could certainly be educated
Yep.
on, and
So if the committee has any ideas for something like that is piquing your curiosity, or Jean, if you've got some thoughts who we can have, and maybe a DOR rep. I don't know
I think
who.
they're down as well.
Yeah, well, yeah, their support is costly, I guess, because they can't afford to do it anymore.
I think there's staffing cuts across the board.
So so review it and see what you think. Does anybody have any questions about it? Or is everything making sense, or are there some acronyms that I've used that I shouldn't have? No.
as I
Ryan?
mentioned via email, I think we did do not necessarily in this time frame, but we did do a lot of these as the year went on this past year.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I just don't, it's stuff we don't want to forget.
Yep.
That's all.
exactly.
That's why I'm trying to figure out. Now, the other thing that I picked up at the administrator's office is from Suzanne. She did a town meeting checklist for annual town meeting. I didn't pass it out. It's a little bit more detailed. And I think a lot of it's for her. Contacting the printer for the timeline and et cetera, that kind of thing, to get because we have to get things printed and get them in the post office by a certain date to cover town meeting. But I haven't even had a chance to look at this, but if I find out that there's anything in here that needs to be in here, I'll put it in here. And then dates. I think I'd like to have a meeting in September that we can talk at that time about when we want to meet. Who knows what's going to happen between now and September, and we've got new members coming in. So if we start off with new members in September and then come up with the dates, whether they're Tuesdays or Mondays or whatever date, and whether it's once a month or twice a month. I know sometimes you get into April and we could meet every week for 4 weeks.
We worked opposite. Tuesdays are late night.
Yep.
So there's an hour difference between the ending time and the beginning time of a night meeting, which is a little easier on Matt
Going
and I.
home, yeah.
Well, we don't go home, that's the
No, I know.
problem. So-
I know.
So last year we did, or FY18, we did opposite the board's schedule.
Yeah.
So we kept the meetings on Tuesday, but it was on the alternate week.
Yeah.
So it just made it a little bit easier
But
for
I
us.
think what got confusing last year, I think the board was meeting much more often.
Well, we had a couple Wednesdays. We had a tough budget season. I think we added Wednesdays to the schedule as well. So the boards were meeting Tuesday and then
Yeah.
on Wednesday on occasion. So we did have quite a few meetings, night meetings
Yeah.
last budget season.
One of the things I see is designate members to review department choices. What do you mean by choices?
All right, I'm going to run it by everybody and see if you want to split out into individual people and go and talk to a department and see what they need to run.
Oh, okay, so these are the department's choices?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You get to choose the department.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I'm saying, what are they choosing, these
Yeah, no,
departments?
no. I mean, and this is just a what if we
Yeah,
do it that
sure.
way. That's
Yeah.
up in the air for the committee to decide.
I think that's a
not-
good idea.
I mean,
Do the departments have different meetings themselves, like department meetings that,
well, water sewer does.
Yeah.
I was gonna
You know,
say maybe
because
if they went to a meeting. one of their
regular departments, I don't
department
think do.
Yeah.
The planning and conservation, like those, but they're committees.
Yeah.
Water, sewer, probably the other one, and school committee.
The elected
Yeah.
boards with elected committees, yeah.
The school committee would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then you got the highway department, you got the fire department, yeah. Might be worth going to those departments, right?
Yeah.
Even, who handles the post office and stuff?
Adam.
Adam, but I mean, who handles, like, when are we gonna sign up with them with another lease?
It's
The
done a
lease is
year
handled
ago.
through the administration office, and we just signed one, maybe 2 years ago now, right?
Probably.
For how long?
5 or 10.
10.
Yeah.
Oh, that long, huh? Thought maybe we could nail them on a triple lease or something, get them to start paying for these repairs, because you can get that.
Anyway, give it some thought,
Yeah.
so we can punch in different things, so we
Right,
can change it around. But I'd like to consider having a meeting in September after this, because I don't think meeting over the summer is going to help us all at all. That's about it.
Okay,
I apologize for my coughing.
it's okay. No problem. I do realize we did not elect a vice chairman. So I don't know if Carol or Lee, you were interested, or Howard mentioned he
Well, I
would
think
be.
we'll just go and we'll elect them right now.
Okay?
He's not here, so we can't say
It
no.
doesn't, it doesn't.
He said he'd do it.
He said he would, he said he
I will
would.
nominate Howard then for vice chair.
Okay,
Second.
okay, quickly done. Any other nominations, questions, comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so that's unanimous. Congratulations, Howard.
That's why I made sure I came in tonight, so I didn't get anything.
Smart woman.
Nice, nice. Okay, so we do have some meeting minutes.
Excuse me, no vouchers?
No about,
Well, we're on that topic, if we could get a designee for both payroll and expense. I just don't want to forget about it.
Currently, it's the chairman?
Ryan was voted, it did make it easy because he did come in for basketball, so he was in
Yeah.
town hall. So someone that's available to come in and sign both the expense and the payroll warrants. The payroll warrants is submitted after Mary does the meeting minutes. But I would need a signature for that. And you do have some limited bills that you pay for the flyers, the postage, so there are some times where we need someone to sign an expense warrant as well. So if there's anybody that can come in, it's up to you who you vote, but I would like them to just be able to come in pretty quickly, within a day or so.
You being the chair, could you handle that?
Yeah, Jean, when is it, like once a month, or?
It depends on
Every
when
other
it's
week?
submitted. So if you're
it's
in
not
an
every,
active
it's not
meeting-
every other week. It's,
Okay.
this past year was once a month, or
Okay.
right around town meeting, it was
Okay.
maybe twice.
a month for payroll.
Yeah, it was once every two.
Could we
2
vote
weeks.
one in a backup?
You could.
Maybe that's an idea,
Good idea.
because I know sometimes you go to Nantucket and stuff. I would nominate Pam as the one to do it. I don't mind being a backup.
Good.
And what I usually do is typically email, saying,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
leave the bill in my box
Right.
in the mail room, and
Yeah.
you come in, it can be after hours,
Yeah.
you just sign and just leave it in my box,
Yeah.
and I pick it up the next day.
Okay,
I don't
so
know if I
do
can
it,
nominate myself
No,
as a
I'll
backup.
nominate you
Okay.
as the backup. I was just waiting for the right time.
Okay.
so do we want to nominate both as authorized signers? Maybe that's the best way to go about it, both Pam and Carol?
Yep, primary and secondary, or whatever.
Is that your motion,
Yes.
Cynthia? Okay, I'll second it. So, motion on the floor. Any questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And you said two things, that takes care of both of those, is that?
That was both, yeah.
Okay.
Thank
good.
you.
Yep. So I just passed out the 26. We actually have 5 sets of meeting minutes. I don't know if people have, I didn't send them out till this morning. If people have reviewed them, if they haven't, we'll just
I
take a
did.
minute. I had one comment on page 2, third paragraph, starts Miss Keegan presented the FY17 actuals. In the middle there, it says circuit breaker funds are used in the general fund budget.
Wait a minute, where are you? I've got
March-
March 26th.
March 26, page 2,
Okay. I see Dr. Fitzpatrick here. Oh, I see, up.
up top,
Gotcha.
second paragraph. Miss Keegan presented the FY. So in the middle there, it says circuit breaker funds are used in the general fund budget in regard to special ed
Yeah,
tuitions.
they're not used in the general fund budget.
So I would just say we would remove that
I
one.
think they're talking about their own general fund budget. I think that's what she's saying, or the school's general budget? No?
Well, it wouldn't be general fund.
Yeah, she,
Circuit breaker definitely used regard special ed tuitions. I think I limited that, you're right, there shouldn't be general fund.
yeah, just get out general fund budget. Yeah,
I would take the whole line out
Yeah.
myself, just because I'm not sure what she,
okay.
I don't know if anyone else has any other edits. If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the March 26, 2018 meeting minutes as amended.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Cynthia. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Carol. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous. All right, there's now in March 27th. 2, and I'll give everybody a moment or so to.
And
Review
the
those.
27th, we have 15 full-time offices.
Okay. So that would be in the first paragraph under police department. The second line says
15?
he gave an overview of the police
sure we
department,
have 15.
which has
Okay.
15 full-time officers, not 19. Also in the second paragraph there, I'd just like it to say the 3 p.m. to 11 p.m. shift, just so it's a little clearer for those that not familiar. It just says 3 to 11 there. In the second paragraph under police department. Also under the ambulance and fire departments, in the first paragraph, second to last line, it says their response time is now 5 to 6 minutes, down from 15 minutes. I think we should just add due to the fire station being staffed 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because that's really the cause of that drop.
I think in the sentence right above that.
Above it, it does
Oh,
say
okay.
that. It says, yeah.
Okay,
think
you're right,
it's
you're right, I'm
what-
sorry, I missed that, you're right.
Yeah.
So scratch that. And then in section 2, on page 2, it said Mr. Wojcik distributed the fiscal year 18 budget, which is more than the proposed fiscal year 19 budget. I'm not sure, I don't, that's not correct, so I would just
Feel right.
take that out as well.
So we're going to take out the parentheses comment.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is it, do you think it's opposite? Distribute the FY '19 budget, which is more than opposed to 18?
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, I don't know what she's trying
I
to
don't
do.
know
You know,
what she's...
it's the act is what we're looking at. That he distributed it,
So I would just remove that. I don't know, does anyone else have any other edits? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the March 27, 2018 meeting minutes as amended.
I'll make that motion.
Go ahead. No, you're fine.
So Cynthia made it, I'll be looking for a second.
I'll second.
Lee will second. Any other questions or comments? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, 2 down, 3 to go.
Take a quick look to see if we approved anything since the last meeting.
Give everybody a minute or two to read through them if they haven't had a chance. Anyone have any edits for the meeting minutes for the 3rd?
I'll move that we approve the minutes of April 3rd as written.
Motion made by Pam,
I'll second it.
seconded by Cynthia. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, 2 more to go.
This is one.
9,
changed. I can't remember.
April 9th. Give you a couple minutes to read through those.
Do you remember when Eric was done? He couldn't sit at the table for one of the meetings. He hasn't really.
I'm sorry, do I remember when Eric sent his letter of resignation? Is that what you're asking?
He couldn't come to town meeting, is my understanding, right?
There was
thought it was
one
one
other
more
meeting
before.
he had to sit.
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
It was the meeting before town meeting.
They have after,
Yeah, it was kinda
absent.
weird,
I
and
just
then he
don't
was at
remember
the
the
next
timing
meeting.
of it.
We had
Wait.
one more meeting after,
We did have another one.
I believe so, right?
I believe he was in the audience for the 10th, is that,
The
if
10th.
that's what you're
So
asking?
he wouldn't be absent. He would actually be off because that's
be
when
off.
he relocated to Uxbridge, correct?
Right.
Correct. So we'll adjust that when we get to those.
And he couldn't wait one more week because he was doing something to get on the finance committee there.
Right, right,
Get on the ballot.
right.
Oh, on the last page, the top sentence, Ms. Van Reed mentioned her address and what her position is. She's also editor of the Blackstone Valley Express, and that is what was being mailed to people, and she made it very clear during that meeting. So,
Okay.
okay, so rather than a letter, it's, that Blackstone Valley Express, I believe that's the name of the publication. Everybody?
Yep. I think that's
Correct
correct.
me?
Yep.
Yeah, that Blackstone Valley Express explaining the budget issues in town and the overhead is being mailed to the public on Friday, period, instead of letter.
Okay, so take out a letter and
Yeah.
put in that the Blackstone Valley Express.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have anything else? If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes as amended.
Move to approve as amended.
Motion made by Pam,
I'll second it.
seconded by Cynthia. Questions, comments? All in favor? Aye. Unanimous.
Last but not least.
Last one. So I'll give you a couple minutes to read as
Fully packed, this must be the voting.
this
all
was the
yeah.
voting one. Yes, 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 yes. We will ask that just Eric's name is removed. He was not a member of the committee at that point, so he just removed as absent. I don't know if anyone has any changes. If not, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the meeting minutes as written.
Make a motion.
Motion made by Lee,
I'll second it.
seconded by Cynthia. Any comments or questions, Pam? No? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Very much.
Mr. Chair, we did
Yes.
have 3 bills, or 1 payroll and 2 bills after the March. The payroll was on April 11th. We had a bill to Douglas Postmaster for $534.30 on March 28th, and Alpha Graphics for $2,671.33 for the printing of the flyer on May 23rd.
Thank you.
So we do have a voucher to sign.
Ryan was authorized to sign it.
Authorized to sign
After, at the next available meeting, we have to inform the committee what was paid that he
Okay.
authorized.
Is this your pen or?
It is.
I shall return it.
Thank you.
I know you'll need it over the summer.
Okay, so we're down to old business. I don't know if anyone, Jean, is there anything you have?
I don't. I would like to thank you both for your time and commitment to the committee, making my life a little bit easier.
I want to thank you for making my life a lot easier. All the questions and comments and reviewing of stuff.
Definitely missed. Stop and
She's
say
a
hi.
great reviewer.
She is a great reviewer. And my stuff needed it,
I
so.
handed her that piece of paper this morning. First thing she looked at it, said, "Oh, wow, we're gonna have to change this." Okay, Jean.
You know, it's kind of weird, we started the same year.
We did. We did.
Even on
It
the
is
same
a
year.
big commitment, and, we do appreciate your time and efforts when you come and volunteer.
Thank
And
you
it
very
does
much.
help that, Ryan listens to us on the way to work, so I do like to do.
One more meeting I'll have to listen to. I used to be able to skip the finance meeting.
I will
Now
do a little shout out once in a
All right,
while.
all right. You used to do it in the strategic budget meetings, if I recall.
I did.
Yeah, so.
I have one thing to bring up, but I don't know if it's appropriate to bring this up.
Old and new business.
I don't know what it is, it's just on how things, when the police chief was here, and he talked about not wanting to do overtime, do you ever sit with him and really crunch numbers? Is that, or do they do just their own number crunching themselves?
They do their own scheduling themselves. We do review the budget and make
Yeah.
sure he's in line.
Because I went over the contract for the police, and, overtime is a heck of a lot cheaper than putting another officer on. Way cheaper, way cheaper.
I don't think he mentioned putting another officer on. I think he's maintaining
Right.
the count that he currently has.
Right, but,
I think over the years,
Yeah.
Carol,
Yeah.
there have been attempts to get rid of part-time officers and increase overtime, or,
Right.
or doing the switcheroony. And
Right.
I got your point.
Yes, it
But
is.
I think you should talk to Jean and/or the chief,
Yeah.
or Matt.
right.
Talk to Matt and
Right.
say, ask him
I
if
think even
he'd be the oversight.
yeah. I haven't seen the fire department's contract, but I'm presuming it's similar to the police contract, so it'd be interesting to see. Sometimes, of course, sometimes overtime, I know that when I had my business, overtime isn't that bad. You're only paying a half-time extra.
Yeah.
And, you're not paying extra
Benefits.
vacations, you're not paying all of these extra benefits that, you're getting the health
Adds up.
insurance, you're not paying an extra health insurance when people work overtime, and a lot of times, obviously, you can only work people so many hours, and you gotta be on top of your game as a police officer without a doubt. But sometimes, they like to earn the extra money as well to support their families and things. And of course, you look into the, then of course, somebody will look at the town budget and say, look at how much he's making. Well, he's working a lot of extra hours.
Yeah.
Well, he's
Yeah.
working, and especially because as the department ages, you
Right.
have more vacation paid out.
Right.
We haven't added to the count at all. And the other thing that people have to remember is part of that is their off-duty pay, which is not paid by the town. It's
Right,
for work.
although actually, if you look in the town budget, I think that the
We
book
do
is
break it down.
broke down, which is very good.
We do
Yes,
break that
because I
down.
did, that was one of the questions I asked the chief, if it was paid by the town when they're doing, when working for the I don't know, electric company or something where they're taking down wires.
Yeah, we do break it down in the
Yeah,
town report.
right, that's very good,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think you can get more clarification though by talking to
I
Matt.
think so. I think we talked to him.
Maybe you could you could be the police department person for the for next year, you know? Sit down and talk to the chief and whoever is helping him with his budget at this point. So,
His budget's pretty detailed. I don't know if you kept it,
Yeah,
but if you go back through his salaries, he does use part-time, he dispatches to backfill
Right,
the officers,
right,
but he
right.
doesn't, you know.
but I mean, one of the words that he did come up with, I tried to use as little overtime as possible. And I just don't think that that's sometimes,
Well, I think he's using the dispatchers for part-time, so you're
right.
not adding any benefits, so we're already giving benefits
We've
to
got some
those
good
people.
officers, there's no doubt about that, good people, even the part-timers. And then of course from,
His salary budget is detailed, so if you have that
Yeah.
document, you can look through that
Yeah.
and you can see the number of hours, and it actually lists the positions that he has as well.
If nobody has anything else, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Motion made by Carol, seconded by Lee. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Again, thank you everyone for coming out tonight. We had some
That was a nice
important